No.
Okay, all right, thank you. Hi everyone. Basically, my name is Mizan, I'm a spoken word artist and activist, and I'm here as a speaker on behalf of Campaign Against the Arms Trade. I would like to start off by thanking the organisation for inviting me to say a few words about the UK and Israeli arms trade. Given these few minutes that I have, I also aim to highlight how arms companies have facilitated in creating an atmosphere which has further enhanced the arms trade and created a new billion-dollar industry due to the emergence of new war technology. Regarding our government and Israel, there is a thriving two-way trade in arms between Britain and Israel, which operates with the full knowledge and support of the government, of the British government itself. So in 2009, the government admitted that the UK-made equipment was almost certainly used in some of the appalling atrocities in Operation Cast Lead. Yet since 2010, the government has licensed the sale of over 41.5 million worth in arms to Israel. Over 10 million worth in arms to Israel were agreed in 2013 alone. Now, these arms include unmanned aerial vehicles, aka drones, military radars, targeting systems, warfare equipment, and parts of armored vehicles, all while knowing that UK-made weapons are almost certainly going to be used on the besieged Palestinian population. But also, in addition to the military equipment being supplied directly from the UK, there is also components that get exported to the US and then the US built equipment destined for Israel. For instance, Israel has used US built F-16 fighter aircraft and Apache helicopters to bomb Lebanese and Palestinian towns and villages. These fighter aircraft contain UK manufactured components, including missile triggering systems for the Apaches and the head-up displays for the F-16s. Now, in July 2014, Israel launched Operation Protective Edge, where an estimated 2,205 people were killed, including 1,483 civilians. During the onslaught, the UK government came under unprecedented pressure, as you all know, to halt the UK arms sales to Israel. But just to help you understand how this works, to sell arms to other countries, you need export licenses, which need to be approved by the government. The government's own rules state that the export licenses should not be granted where there is significant risk that they may be used for internal repression or in violation of international law. But in practice, arms exports are almost always granted. The UK policy on arms exports is best one of arms control by embarrassment, where the UK approves licenses to anyone that can pay and only revokes the licenses at times of crisis, when it is already too late, when millions of people have already died. Now, as the bombs fell on Gaza, this seemed like a good time for arms exports to Israel to be revoked. Due to the intense pressure and the media attention, the government conducted a review and identified 12 licenses for components that could be part of the equipment used by the Israeli Defense Forces in their operation in Gaza. However, the government decided that it would not even suspend these licenses unless significant hostilities resumed. We don't know what the government meant by significant hostilities, but one thing we do know is that the licenses remained in place throughout Israel's operation in Gaza. But as I mentioned before, the UK-Israeli trade in arms is not one way. It's two ways. Israel itself, as you have seen in the film, is home to a thriving military sector made up of 200 private and public companies. The main companies are Elbit Systems and 3 state-owned companies, Israel Aircraft Industries, Israel Military Industries, and Rafael. Horrifically, one of their main selling points is that their weapons are already battle tested, which, as you know, is referred to in the film. The lab itself, when the head of the Israeli Arms Technology and Logistics Division, Avner Ben-Zaken, said, quote, "If I develop a product and want to test it in the field, I only have to go 5 or 10 kilometers from my base and I can look and see what is happening with the equipment. I get feedback, so it makes the development process faster and much more efficient." Israel is using Palestine to test its weaponry, and then using these assaults as a marketing strategy for their weapons technology. As well as exporting arms to Israel, the UK spends millions of pounds each year on battle-tested arms from the Israeli companies, and nowhere has this been more evident than in the area of unmanned aerial vehicles, better known as drones. Drones are a regular and much feared part of life in Gaza due to the targeted drone strikes which remove single houses from densely packed streets in Gaza, or the practices of roof knocking, using drones to fire missiles at houses to warn inhabitants to leave just before they are bombed. The fact that these warning shots are often deadly, or that there is nowhere safe to run to if you are about to experience a drone strike, is beside the point. These strikes are often carried out using the Hermes 450 drone, made by the Israeli company Elbit Systems, and the Hermes is one of the main armed drones used by the IDF. But just to give you an example of what it's like to live with the possibility of drone strikes, there was a book called Drone Warfare, Killing by Remote Control, by someone called Media Benjamin. Just wondering if any one of you
I know her, yeah.
heard of it. Have you read the book?
No, but I heard of her.
Okay, I would suggest it's a very, it's a recommended read, because she goes into how the whole drones industry itself. But just not that, she also goes into the communities affected by drones, by the use by drones. And there's an important quote in her book where she says about Waziristan and about the community in Waziristan and what they're going through with drones. And she says something important. She goes, quote, "There are some 800,000 people living in Waziristan, and many of them live in a state of constant fear. Whether they are working on their farms, performing their chores, going to the market, driving their cars, or just sitting at home, they are always worried a drone might strike. Their inability to protect themselves and their loved ones compounds the stress. So does their inability to hold anyone to account." End quote. Israeli companies were the largest exporters of drones globally in 2013, and Israel drone technology has been sold to over 50 countries worldwide. One of them is the Watchkeeper drone, a new drone for the use by the British military. The Watchkeeper project is an excellent example of how the UK stands to benefit from Israeli drone technology. The Watchkeeper is an adapted version of the Hermes 450 drone. The contract to build it has been given to a company called UAV Tactical Systems Limited, i.e. UTACS. Now UTACS is a joint venture company formed by Thales UK and by the Israeli company Elbit Systems, and the contract will ultimately be worth 1 billion, reaping up huge profits for Thales and Elbit. Although drones have caused misery for millions of people, the reason why the drones market has been successful is not because of the fact that drones can be used to initiate and carry out warfare without boots on the ground, but it is also due to how they are perceived in these current times. Now, suppose many of you guys have heard of Donald Rumsfeld.
Yeah. Sure. Yeah.
You know, the neocon warmonger.
Yeah.
Well, as he famously...
known.
Sorry, excuse me?
He's a known.
Yeah, he's a known, but there's
a known.
Yeah, the known and the known unknowns and the unknown unknowns as well. Whatever that, well, you know, form that he was he was trying to work on. But Donald Rumsfeld famously said that there has been a revolution in military affairs, and drones are a part of this. There has been a major change in the nature of warfare brought about by the innovative application of new technologies, which, combined with dramatic changes in military doctrine and operational and organizational concepts, fundamentally alters the character and conduct of military operations. Now, those behind these new technologies are basically arms manufacturers who have developed new arms to suit the needs of new and emerging military doctrine as well as methods, which, to emphasize, is to replace soldiers on the ground with war technology. Since Iraq showed the limits of the Bush doctrine, the Obama doctrine has taken the spirit of the Bush doctrine, but with a different method, using non-conventional techniques such as drones to engage in multiple theater wars. And we all know that Israel's Elbit systems is a major beneficiary of this trade. It is also worthy to note that the British businesses could also be looking to invest in non-lethal drone technology for business purposes. Stated in a Guardian article called "Britain could be a world leader in the billion-pound drone industry," as they quote, "Analysts predict the market for drones could be worth billions," end quote. But along with the creation of new weapons technology, the war on terror has also loosened restrictions placed on arms exports, so that arms can be sold to friendly regimes who in turn have used these weapons to repress pro-democracy activists in their own countries. Israeli weapons manufacturers obviously reaping big profits from this, as in this area, as their weapons have already been tested on the Palestinians, and hence since they're battle tested, people who are governments who are looking to kind of repress their pro-democracy activists and communities in their own countries are looking to buy Israeli weapons. Now, arms manufacturers play a pivotal role in the war on terror, as it is they who stand to gain the most profits from their wars, as well as think tanks and individuals aligned to them. And it is for this reason why I feel Campaign Against the Arms Trade, or CAT for short, is playing a very crucial role in society. CAT regularly organizes direct actions against arms manufacturers, and believes that there's only one option for the arms trade, which is an end to the arms trade. And this is where you can get involved. The Dicey Arms Fair will take place between the 9th and the 15th September in London Excel. This is where all the main arms manufacturers will be to see their arms, including Israeli arms manufacturers, Elbit Systems and others. CAT is organizing a mass weekend on the 4th of September where we encourage groups and individuals to join us directly to oppose the arms fair. If you would like to find out more information and assist in any way, you can come to the next Stop the Arms Fair meeting on April 14th at 7 p.m. in CAT offices at Finsbury Park. Alternatively, please, you can come to speak to me afterwards. Also, CAT have a new report coming out on the arms trade with Israel. So if you want to be kept up to date with this report, I have a sheet where you can give us your email address, and we can basically put you on the mailing list, and we'll keep you up to date with that new report on the Israeli arms trade as well. So thank you very much. That's all I have to say about it.
Okay.
So,